welcome. You're watching Business Today Television. This is Market Today. I'm Sakshi, Batra, and with me is Bhatnagar. And this is a show where we help you understand the closing action on the D Street. Starting with the Nifty now, about 90 odd points higher in trade at 19,782. Markets holding up into the green zone and holding on to those gains which it clocked in the morning trade as well. The Nifty Bank also managed to eke out about 0.2% gains right now, 43,665 being seen in the markets. Broader parts of the markets also doing very well, apart from among the 19 indices that we track sectorally, 18 of them are in the green right now. When we talk about the top movers, it's the metal pack, the realty pack, consumer durables and healthcare as the top moving parts as far as sectors are concerned. On the Nifty, a lot of heavyweight counters are really supporting the markets today. Talk about Reliance Industries, that's now contributing about 29 points higher to the Nifty index, 2378 currently being seen for this one. HDFC Bank also contributing about 10-11 points to the Nifty right now. Adani Enterprises, Titan, SBI Life, JSW Steel, the other movers as far as the heavyweight counters are concerned on the Nifty index right now. F&O Space, Oberoi Realty, about 4% higher in trade. Max Financials is now 3.5% higher in trade as well. From the Nifty 500 basket, we do have a lot of stocks like BEML, now 7.5% higher in trade as well. We have stocks like Credit Access Grameen, now 6% higher. Concord Biotech, 4% higher in trade. Chemplast Sanmar, also higher in trade. Some of these stocks that are doing very well in trade right now. But Shell, on the Nifty clearly, what are you tracking as far as the options call is concerned?
So Sakshi, two things that worked in favor of our earlier enthusiasm on the Nifty 750 November 23rd call, as well as the 19800 call on Nifty ending November 23rd, was Reliance Industries, HDFC Bank, and to some extent both the tech counters, Infosys and TCS. Even now, Reliance is the top gainer as far as index heavyweights are concerned, up about 1.3 at 2380. And of course, you have HDFC Bank up about 0.7%, 1516. We'll now focus on the 19750 Nifty call ending 23rd of November. Remember, this was initiated in the first 2 or 3 minutes of trade. You will see the call appearing in front of you. And this was priced at about 95 to 98 rupees. During the day, it hit a high of about 146 and is at the moment trading at the same price. You have the Nifty 19850 call, which is trading. I think the PCI should show the 23rd November call for 19750. This is not the call that we are talking about. No. This is again the 30th November call. Please show the 23rd November call of 19750 and 19800 before they come on screen. Yes, this is the one that we had started to discuss at about 93 to 95 in the first 2 or 3 minutes of trade. It's gone all the way up to 146 and is now still trading at this current level. The trade, of course, got over somewhere like 12 o'clock. If you were with us. And as far as the 19800 call is concerned, this was discussed at about 65 to 68 rupees and it hit an intraday high of somewhere like 101 rupees. So that's how we trap momentum in our favor, and it worked out extremely well. The show for today, ladies and gentlemen, is focused on two very interesting IPOs that are in the market. One from the Tata Group stable, Tata Technologies, and the other from the government stable, the IREDA IPO. This is the renewable energy financing arm of the Government of India, called Indian Renewable Energy Development Agencies. And with us are two special gentlemen, Mr. Sudeep Bandhopadhyay, who at the moment is joining us on the screen, as also Sharad Avasthi. Sharad is the head of research for the private client group at a very well-known brokerage, Smiths, and Sudeep ji is, of course, group chairman for IndiTrade Capital. Welcome, gentlemen. Just a small detour. We'll start discussing Tata Technologies IPO, which is from the Tata Group, and I'd like to take Sudeep ji back into time. This is August of 2004 when the TCS IPO from the Tata stable was listed, the IPO price was 850 rupees. With a minor uptick, the IPO was listed, and between 2004 to 2023, one of the biggest wealth creators in the market has been Tata Consultancy Services. Is history repeating itself, Sudeep ji? What are the 2 or 3 things that you like about Tata Technologies? A lot of details are available on screen in terms of the basic structure of the IPO. We'll discuss the potential of this company with Sudeep and Sharad. Over to you, Sudeep ji.
Shalji, thank you for having me for this discussion. It's a very, very interesting area. And I would say, apart from the investors, even the Tata Group made a lot of, derived a lot of benefit out of the TCS listing. The biggest wealth creator for the group also has been TCS, undoubtedly. And of course, for the public in general, it's of course a great company. The way things are poised and the timing of the Tata Technologies issue, I think we may be in for a similar ride. I have been maintaining this view for some time that as opposed to generic technology companies, IT companies, technology companies focused on niche areas are gaining traction and are in more and more demand. Now look at this particular company, Tata Technologies. They are fully focused, as things stand today, on automobile technology, and that also the transition from ICE to EV. Internal combustion engine to EV. Now, this is the biggest trend in automobile industry today, and this includes both owner or driver-driven cars, EV, as well as self-driven EV. Now, this is the area where maximum amount of work is happening in the automobile industry. So this company plays a critical role in this transition. So obviously, it's very, very relevant in today's context. Now, I'll come to the other detail later. Look at the other area where they are now focusing on, that's aerospace. Now, this is an era where we are talking about private travel to space. And this is an era where whole lot of things in this particular area will happen, where there is an air taxi service which is being talked about getting launched in multiple cities to beat congestion. Of course, the airline industries are flourishing. Airlines are flourishing. The industry is on a upswing post-COVID. So again, this is an area where this company is focusing. So I would say the area where Tata Technologies is operating and planning to operate is absolutely apt for the next couple of decades at least. So under the circumstances, Shailji, to your question, I think yes, it can create significant wealth for the investors and shareholders of this company going forward post-listing also.
Let's get Sharad Awasthi into the discussion. Sharad, I'll just make 1 or 2 points in terms of the strength that Tata Technologies brings to the table. It is the service provider to top 7 out of 10 auto emerging R&D spending companies, and out of the top 10, 5 are the clients in the new energy R&D spends as far as Tata Technologies is concerned. The PE for the company at times of pricing is 29. It's amongst the most inexpensive stocks when it comes to mid-cap IT. Sharad, what are you thinking when you advise clients about Tata Technologies? What should retail investors do, and what are the long-term prospects of this company 3 years from now?
See, I think the long-term prospects will be very bright for the company in the longer term. 3 years certainly should be very good, because what is happening is that if you look at the diversification that they are doing, as Sudeep was also talking about, the aerospace area that they are entering into, they already have some Airbus orders which should start reflecting in the numbers over the next 1 or 2 quarters. And beyond this, I think even the main business, which is cars and automobiles, where they are the only company in India that can develop it from scratch to the level where it is to be sold. I think it's a very attractive proposition, and particularly the EV side of it is very attractive. I think electrification should lead to more of electronification, and in case self-driving is something that starts happening after electric, which I think should happen at a faster pace, then I think this company could benefit substantially out of it. As you rightly pointed out, most of the larger players are already there. They have a very engaging relationship with VinFast as well, which is supposedly to launch electric cars in India as well. They have some relationship with Tesla as well. And obviously, we know that the Tata promotion, the whole EV thing, they have only developed on their plan. So I think they already have the backing of a very strong group, and they have performed very well dealing with some of the larger EV companies. So that is an area that can grow at a very rapid scale. And the total ER&D space is actually huge and is growing at a sustainable pace of around 8 to 12%. But I think within the EV space, this growth could be much better, much faster actually, considering the adoption. We are right now somewhere around 5% of the total fleet. This is expected to go up to 30% even in India. I think the developed world should adopt it faster. So there is a huge scope in EVs as well. And I think still it's largely automobiles, but the aerospace, I think, is a very big area that can substantially boost the company. So I'm expecting 30-35% kind of CAGR easily for the company. And that would make the valuations seem attractive, very attractive actually.
Okay. Sudeep, let me just start off with you first, and I wanted to discuss with you some questions that most of the investors already have. See, somebody holding Tata Elxsi is now questioning how different will Tata Technologies be if I add that to the portfolio. Could you explain to our viewers what is the clear difference going to be? And as a devil's advocate, I'll ask you, will this increase the competition within the group and maybe one company cannibalizing on the other company's business as well?
Well, I don't think so, Sakshi. I think they have their own areas of operation, and to a great extent, I would say we just explained, both myself and Sharad, that this company, Tata Technology, is focused on automobile segment, but the transition from internal combustion to EV and self-driving therefrom. So this is a niche area which they are catering to. But while I say niche, this is a niche which is exploding right now. Everybody is talking about that. Every automobile company in the world is looking at that. As Sharad mentioned, that VinFast, that famous company, Vietnamese company, which is I think getting great valuation. They are planning to manufacture, and they are partnering with Tata Tech. Tesla, of course, we all are aware of, and Tata Motors with their own EV platform. I think this is what they're servicing. And the other area which they are now aggressively looking at is aerospace, space travel, and this entire area, which is huge. Whereas Tata Elxsi is focused on multiple other segments and multiple other areas where there are a lot of development, a lot of excitement. While both are very focused technology companies, I don't think there'll be cannibalization of business between Tata Tech and Tata Elxsi. These are two different companies, and of course we know how well Tata Elxsi has rewarded its shareholders over the last maybe many years. And the same logic will apply for Tata Tech as well. Now, whether somebody should sell Tata Elxsi and buy Tata Tech, I'm not very sure whether they should do that. I think they can buy both and hold both. They can apply an IPO. If they don't get, they can buy in the market once it lists and hold it for long term. There is absolutely no problem.
Okay, wonderful. Sharad, let me take this question with you also. For all the investors thinking, is it better to perhaps go through the indirect route right now, buy Tata Motors, buy Tata Investment, which has been rallying, and reap on the benefits, because the holding company in any case will also turn out to be beneficial?
See, Tata Investment, I would not be pretty sure after the recent run-up. But Tata Motors, even without this IPO, I think I'm very bullish, and there is a huge opportunity in the stock still to perform going ahead, the way the JLR turnaround and everything is happening. So I think Tata Motors, you can still bet on standalone basis, because if you look at this company, I think for Tata Motors, 5 to 6% of the market cap would be this, and then you put up a holding company discount, etc. So not much remains actually. So I don't think it makes much sense to consider Tata Motors as an alternative and then play the Tata Tech story. Tata Tech will be a high growth story in a different minefield actually, and Tata Motors on a standalone basis also looks very attractive. We have targets of around 850, 900 on the stock.
Since both gentlemen, Sharad and Sudeep ji, are short on time, Sakshi, what we'll do is we'll discuss lots more good details on Tata Technologies post 3 p.m. But let's start the discussion on Indian Renewable Energy Development Agency, better known as IREDA. The IPO is also open between November 21st and 23rd. Details will roll out in front of you. And this is a mini Ratna government company where the IPO is priced between 30 to 32 rupees per share. So what is IRFC to railways? What is REC and Power Finance Corporation to the power sector is what IREDA will be to green energy projects such as solar and wind power. Sudeepji, coming to you immediately. This IPO is worth 2,150 crore rupees. What are you advising your clients? Should they invest? And if they are lucky enough to get the share in their portfolio, should they hold for the long term?
Yeah, absolutely, Shailji. I think we are definitely advising investors to apply, and absolutely, if they get allotment, they should hold. Look, this is the only dedicated power financing company, green financing company, which we have from the government stable. There are few private sector, smaller ones, but this is the behemoth in this industry. And as we know, this is the industry which is gaining maximum traction worldwide. Everybody is talking about transition to green energy. Every power company, what's talking about are venturing into green energy, whether solar or wind or even other means which they are exploring. Now, all these areas, IREDA will have a role to play. And, even today, I think, a lot of talk is going on that the margin profile is not very, supportive. But today the margin is around 2%. And of course, with leverage, 5-time leverage, it can 5-6 time leverage, the return on equity can be significantly higher. And this is something worth possessing and having in the portfolio. There are few, structural issues and few, health issues which the PSU, as a PSU, they need to get it right, and I'm sure they will get it right post listing. And listing brings in a lot of discipline and a lot of rigor to the entire governance process, and we'll hope that these things fall in place. But yes, the individual as retail investor, they should apply and they should hold on to this if they do get allotment.
Okay, Sharad, I'll bring you in. What is your own expectations of the listing gains? What kind of listing do you expect from both Tata Tech and IREDA once they get listed?
I think Tata Tech, the euphoria is magnanimous. I don't know. The listing gain should be very substantial. What I'm looking at is that maybe over the next 2-3 years, the stock could double from the IPO price. And so based on that, some discounting here and there, you could be looking at 200-300 rupee kind of upside on Tata Tech. And on IREDA, I think it should be a slow gaining company. But in terms of growth, I think renewable power is a very attractive space to grow. And I think I would keep a key eye on the GNPA numbers because they have substantially contracted over the last 2-3 years. And I think most of the GNPAs are still from 70% are from biomass and one other segment, which just contributes 20% to the total advances. And solar should grow at a higher rate. So I think GNPA should be much lower. And as the company continues to report lower NPA levels over the next 2-3 quarters, there is a possibility that it should command price to book multiples of somewhere around 1.5, 1.2. And the book value accretion could be somewhere around 10-11 rupees over the next 2-3 years, 2 years basically. So you could be looking at something like a target of around 70-75 in the long term. So short term, I think even IREDA, you could see something around 40-45 rupees.
Right. So both are expert gentlemen on Tata Technologies as well as IREDA are advising retail investors to put in at least one lot of application each in both companies. Both are blue chips in their own right, one from the government stable, which is IREDA, priced at about 30 to 32 rupees per share, and of course Tata Technologies, which is priced at 475 to 500 rupees per share, and of course is raising 3,043 crore rupees. Remember, these are two blue chip stocks. They have to be held for the longer term as far as wealth creation is concerned. And if you don't get the desired allotment as far as the IPO is concerned, Sudeepji, this comes to you. Will it be a good strategy to buy whatever you require on the first day of listing for both counters?
Well, Shailji, as far as first day of listing, a lot of madness happens. I will be careful in buying or selling both ways. So I'm not very sure, how things will pan out on the day of the listing for IREDA. There may be some pressure, there may be some selling, there may be something. But if that happens, if there is a dip in price or there is soft listing, definitely it will be worthwhile to buy. As far as Tata Tech is concerned, I think there will be a massive euphoria at the time of listing, and probably it will be better to wait and watch and let things settle down a bit, and then only go and buy if you haven't got allotment, or if you want more shares to be in your portfolio of Tata Tech.
With that, gentlemen, a lot of thanks to both of you when it comes to giving such excellent and practical advice both on Tata Technologies as well as IREDA. सुदीप जी, आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद, और शरद जी आपका भी बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया, आपने अपना कीमती समय निकाला और इतनी बढ़िया राय दी IREDA और टाटा टेक्नोलॉजीज़ के बारे में. धन्यवाद आपका.
If you just see in the first 6 months of this financial year.
Now, Sakshi, we have the basic advice from both gentlemen to apply in Tata Technologies as well as IREDA to the maximum possible what a retail investor can put in. Let's now again come back to Tata Technologies, and I wish to state the kind of strength that this company brings to the table. So one thing that is more interesting, Sakshi, these days is after you buy your house, the biggest spending item is a car.
Car, that's true.
Right?
Yeah.
The car over a period of time is slowly morphing from a mechanical device to a computerized desktop on wheels.
Yeah.
And this is where companies like Tata Technologies come in. They have somewhere like 12,450 employees, which are across the board in 19 centers globally.
Yeah.
And the good part is that their clients are the ones that have stuck with them for a very, very long time. This is not a new company which is going in for a FPO within the 2 or 3 years of its setting up. It's at least 2 decades old, and it brings excellent value as far as long-term holders of stock is concerned. You look at how KPIT has moved.
Technologies, within 2 or 3 years, I mean, like it's
absolutely. So this is the same space. The beauty is that Tata Technologies is priced very reasonably at 28-29 PE versus 67 of KPIT. So it provides retail investors a wonderful opportunity to ride the next decade of growth, where your car will be a computer. You will be downloading software in your car. Please mark my words, just as you download software in your mobile phone or a desktop. So that is where technology is headed, and this particular stock is at the forefront of such developments.
I think most of the viewers just want to know whether it will be the new TCS, because a lot of us, we were not available at that time when TCS really got listed. We were not in the markets right there. So we missed that opportunity of catching TCS very, very young. So for somebody looking at a 20 years perspective, is now looking at Tata Tech perhaps as one opportunity.
The reason why I so clearly remember TCS IPO was that whatever were the DMATs at that point of time, I applied in all of them and I bought it on the first day of listing, which continues till today. So this is an opportunity for all those investors who are in their 20s, who are in their 30s and often crib that we don't get a great IPO to invest.
Exactly.
This is the one.
This is one. This could be the next TCS, and this could be the next HDFC Bank, since you've been talking about
Okay,
it.
let me, I am not saying that, and I am just saying that this is an IPO not to be missed. Neither Tata Technologies and nor IREDA. If you look at the Tata Technologies financials, Sakshi, it's not a small company. If you look at the FY23 numbers, the top line is actually 4,500 crore rupees.
Absolutely.
And the profit is 624 crore rupees. The OPM is 18% and the net margin is 14%. So this is an immensely good profit making company, and the beauty is that its customers can't leave it. You see what happens in larger IT companies is that their clients move across different companies, across rivals. But if you are an automotive spender on R&D and you are in the new energy space for cars, there are very few software developers who offer that kind of value chain. So their clients stick with them and they stick with their clients.
That's wonderful.
The only caveat which the prospectus mentions is that both the parent, which is Tata Motors and JLR, are among the top 5 customers of Tata Technologies. So that has an element of risk. Plus, a lot of startups in the new energy space are also customers of Tata Technologies. Being a startup has its own pain points in terms of funding and all. But overall, as Sudeep ji has said, as Sharad bhai has said, please apply in the IPO of Tata Technologies. Sakshi, I can't be even more emphatic than this.
Yes, absolutely. And Sharath clearly mentioned that he expects the company to double, from the issue price, at least in the next few years as well, going forward from here, both for IREDA and Tata Tech is what he said. Let's now welcome another guest on board now. We have with us Vaishali Parekh, Vice President Technicals at Prabhudas Leeladhar. Good afternoon to you, Vaishali, and thank you so much for taking the time out yet again. What are you watching out for in the markets? What looks interesting to you? We've been talking about the IPO space, which you will not give us an insight into, but from the secondary markets, where do you think is a greater amount of value?
Very good afternoon to both of you. Yes, market is giving us opportunity. So today we started with some of the pharma stocks. Look at Aurobindo Pharma. I'm waiting for Cipla to give a breakout about 1260. And of course, we have the shipping stocks like Cochin Shipyard and GRSC. So these are the stocks which look quite favorable right now in a scenario like this. So yes, these are mid cap is still the flavor. We are not getting a consistent move in the front line, but yes, mid cap still looks interesting.
Right. And I have always believed that Lady Luck shines on Market Today and Business Today television, doubly when Vaishali joins Sakshi and me on the show. For those of us who joined us on 6th of November, Vaishali had pointed out buying into Tata LXC at somewhere like 7,800 rupees a share. That's just 8,420 rupees per share. So this is the kind of magic that Vaishali does just by the click of her fingers. So Lady Luck shining on us again today, Vaishali. What were you doing when TCS got listed in 2004? I am sure you were in school.
No, I was a beginner. I was a beginner.
Okay. And Sakshi, where were you in 2004?
I was in school for sure. I was doing my +2, +1, I think, at that time. Yeah.
So this is how you figure out how to find the exact age of our lady guests without asking the obvious question.
Mathematicians like you.
So note it down in your diary, Sakshi, the listing of Tata Technologies, which will, I think, take place on 5th of December of 2023. That's a marquee date in your journey as an equity anchor on television. It will be fun. Vaishali, are you applying in this IPO?
Actually, I'm tempted to.
Okay. Let's get back to charts. So what looks interesting in the mid-cap space? You mentioned Aurobindo Pharma.
Yes, Aurobindo, I think, if you see the weekly chart and all, and that has been showing a lot of action in the recent past. So I would look at a target of 1040 right now. So Aurobindo Pharma has been a buy trade since a very long time. We've been recommending. Another stock which is now a fresh buy, after a very long time, look at IEX. IEX looks very promising. It's coming out of the long consolidation. So IEX is one stock which will give us good returns from here on. And I would say I'm looking at a target of 153 to 155.
Okay. Vaishali, let me ask you on, some of the stocks that are buzzing the most in trade. Are you looking at the hospitality chain stocks at all? EIH, Chalet Hotels. I was looking at some of them. They've actually started to move again. Indian Hotels. Any of this basket interesting you?
So, Indian Hotel has always been on the radar, and I think it should continue to do well because since 2 days, even this stock is showing some momentum, good volume. But as a positional trade, I would look for a target of 435, 440. So, it is a positive move coming in over here.
Okay.
Once again, we are coming close towards December, and also I'm sure it's going to attract a lot of tourism and yes, vacation time.
Vacation time. Where are you going for winter vacations now, Vaishali?
Not yet planned. Not yet.
Please,
Yes,
please,
Kashmir is on my wish list.
yeah, please unbox North India for obvious reasons. The air here is only good for North Indians. Let me just put it very mildly and in a very politically correct manner. So
Right.
But you'll be
please,
surprised if Mumbai is no good. Mumbai
yeah,
also has a lot of pollution.
yeah, but that's coming from your side, which is fine. You are a guest, so your views are independent. We have to be a bit careful when it comes to voicing opinions on pollution as far as Delhi is concerned.
Yes, we live here and we have to live with it. Vaishali, a lot of other stocks also. From the large cap basket, let me ask you now. Titan, of course,
Yeah.
3 lakh crore rupees market cap now. How would you look at this stock? 33.95 currently, 1.5% higher. How would you trade this stock?
So yes, it is in a good trend. It has moved past the previous high levels also. So the view is positive. But for now, my trading target comes to around 3450. I would be a bit watchful at those levels. Only if we move above 3450, 3480, I would be looking at higher targets. But for now, it's a positive view for a target of 3450.
Okay. Sakshi, while you were holidaying some time ago, we had Tanya on the show, and she mentioned a wonderful line. क्या छोटा पटाखा बड़ा धमाका, in response to my high beta low ticket, right? So, Vaishali, we are now going to quiz you on high beta low ticket items in the PSU basket. Two stocks have made very sharp moves today, one being Bama Lorry and the other Engineers India. They are priced very attractively. Bama Lorry at about 161 and Engineers India at about 145. Sharp moves accompanied by volume as well as price. What are the charts telling you?
So yes, to start with Bamalori, yes, it's looking very favorable. We are seeing a good trend setting in. Bamalori, it would very likely retest the previous highs of 170. So one can buy even now, current price being 161, with a stop loss of 150 for a target of 170 to start with, and then we can have a relook. If it moves past, there could be an upside potential from here on too. And as far as engineers is concerned, yes, we've been waiting for this to happen. Well, it has shown good volume, good momentum. So I would be a buyer at these levels, looking for a target, a positional target of 165 to 170 for now.
Okay. Vaishali, how are you looking at the entire metal basket? Shining brightest in trade today. Stocks like, Jindal Steel and Power, the stocks like Nalco, for example, Tata Steel, JSW Steel, Ratnamani Metals, Hindalco, all of them up anywhere between 1.5 to 2.5%. How are you looking at these?
So metal sector on the whole, I think we must have discussed this a couple of weeks back. It had taken a long time trend line support, and from there on, we are seeing a good bounce. So, well, right now, currently, my focus is on Hindalco also. I mean, Hindalco also is getting into new round of momentum. So, I am positive on Hindalco, and likewise, I would be positive on all these stocks like Nalco or JSW Steel. These are the stocks which I would really like to, and they're fair valued. If you see sale also, I mean, there is a lot of upside. Risk reward ratio is favorable. So I would definitely lay my bet on these stocks.
Right. Vaishali, the top space in the banking F&O as far as the monthly expiry is concerned is City Union Bank. A very sharp rally, up 10% so far November, 151 rupees. This is the top performer. What are the long-term charts telling you? Is this a zone where one should further add this counter, or should one be exiting?
No, now I would be looking at weekly chart because we saw a decent run up, a rally coming in on the daily chart and all. weekly chart also, if you see, as such, triple bottom at 120, coming out of that consolidation of 140 levels. So with the support of 140, I would be now looking at a target of 165, 170, quite likely. So I guess with 140, a stop loss below 140, this would be a good buy. We may see some resistance at these levels. It may oscillate for a while, but what is important is that 140 should not be broken, and a decisive move above 152, 153 brings in further confirmation for a target of 160 to 170 levels.
Yeah, Sakshi, just drawing your attention to City Union Bank, and I'll request the PCR to fire a long-term 1-year, 2-year chart for City Union Bank. This move has just started, and you'll see the stark distance. In the month of November, it's up 10%. It's the best performer as far as the banking FNO space is concerned. But if you make a 1-year chart of City Union Bank, it is actually down 18% and is the worst performer. So it's a swing trade in the making, the beginning of a move which Vaishali very rightly points out. And if the PCR can fire a 1-year chart of City Union Bank, you will see that it's actually down 18%, see 17.7%. I was off by 0.3.
That's hardly anything, but you know, a great spot there right before the markets hit it, even pre-open this morning as well. But Vaishali, one more space, one more stock with you, SJVN. You know, sharp surge today, 8% higher in trade after a day's lapse, and the stock has been up this entire year so far. About 134% increase has already been seen on this stock. And you know, of course, last 3 years again 265%. So it's been performing very well over the last 3 years as well, and still under 100 rupees. How would you look at this stock?
Well, it's really still very attractive. I think it's just ready for a breakout. I mean, volume has been exceptionally high, and the previous high has been 80 to 97. So, say a little bit more, I would give a little bit of leverage, about 83 rupees, 83.50. If it sustains, it's ready for higher targets. So, this is definitely a stock worth keeping it on your radar.
Okay.
Okay, SGVN is what Sakshi is discussing. Remember, the all-time high of the stock is also fairly nearby. I think it's 82 rupees. Let me just get that right. This was 2 months ago, 83.65. So at 81.75, we are just shouting distance away from this one. And Vaishali says this is good news. Sakshi, let's look at the stocks that have made record highs today, because that is the momentum that's best chased once these stocks dip a bit. Okay, phenomenal list. I can see at least 20 stocks at all-time highs. So let's start with low ticket, high beta. So Philips Carbon Black, PCBL 245.80, up 5% today. Cement company Prism Johnson 173 at 5.4% gain. RECL is showing a bit of profit booking, but PFC and RECL have been on record high lists for as long as I can remember over the last 2 months. Fortis, now this is an interesting stock which should also get Vaishali's attention. Although at a record high, let's do a chart check here. To you, Vaishali, very strong volumes on Fortis, 38 lakh shares today, up 3% record high. What are the long-term charts telling you?
So actually, it looks very attractive, because I'll tell you, for a couple of days on the daily chart, we saw a little bit of consolidation taking its own time. And today, once again, very high volume, getting into new momentum. So we need to see a close above 375. So once we see a close above 375, in all likelihood, this can go towards 400, 410.
Okay, Vaishali, let me also take up with you. You did talk about Aurobindo Pharma as well, but let me discuss with you some of the other diagnostic chains as well, which have been coming up. Divis Laboratories is right now trading at 37.23. We also saw Laurus Labs come up in trade as well. How would you be looking at the diagnostic majors?
So, well, to start with, say, divis, I think it is very well placed and it has already got in a trend. So, wait for a dip because we've seen a one-way move coming right from 32902, right now 3720. So, if one has to buy fresh, wait for a little bit of a retracement towards 3600 or so. And the long-term view remains positive. I would be waiting for a target of 3900 to 4000 in divis. In fact, even IPCA Lab has been doing so well. So that also continues to show a lot of strength. If people have bought it at lower levels, one should hold on for targets of 1200.
Okay, let's do something very different, Sakshi. What I have in front of my screen actually are bubbles. They show which is the biggest strength, which is the biggest, which is the best stock in terms of strength as far as a particular sector is concerned. And within the Nifty group, I have SBI Life and HDFC Life. In fact, the entire insurance space today is showing very, very strong momentum. You will have ICICI Life General Insurance, and within the public sector space, you have National Insurance, NIACL, and GIC Ray that are doing extremely well. In terms of charts of the insurance sector, Vaishali, is there anything that catches your eye on the long side where you'd suggest a long trade despite the move that's already happened?
So yes, let's start with SBI Life. I think with today's low, one can get into the trade for a trading target of 1450. But what really gives us good return these days is the mid cap. So GICRE is one stock which I have been tracking, and well, after a very long time, the stock has got into a big strong trend. So with 245, 250 as support, this stock looks very promising for a target of 280 to 300. So yes, GIC would be more favorable, but for short-term traders, SBI still has
Yeah.
upside.
You know what's interesting, Sakshi, is that while these stocks are showing immediate current in terms of price and volume, any chart that you see, whether it's the private sector giant of HDFC Life or ICICI General Insurance or SBI Life and smaller PSUs, definitely, till about 5-7 years ago, there was this thought that long term wealth can be created by holding on to these insurers, especially in the private space, simply because insurance penetration was very low. And this has turned out to be a very sad trade. You know, people haven't made money in HDFC Life despite the parentage, despite the marquee ratings, despite the growth in business. But long term shareholders have yet to see the sunrise on this sector as far as stocks are concerned. But such is life, and such is the uncertainty in markets that you live with this change. And I'm sure the moment long term investors sell out, these stocks will double.
Absolutely, and insurance space is going to get even more interesting now as we go forward from here. The government is taking active interest in it, and for sure all of these stocks will be worth a watch even going forward from here. Let's now talk about one more stock that's buzzing in the F&O space. Vaishali, could you look at Ashok Leyland Place? It's up by 3.6% in trade. 178 odd levels can be seen in the F&O space. So especially in the F&O space, what targets would you recommend?
So, well, yes, this has been our favorite stock because this is one stock which we had recommended right from the bottom of one, like the level of 166 as our Diwali pick. So, there would be a technical hurdle right now at 180. 180, we may see some resistance coming in, profit booking coming in, but well, it surely becomes a stock with a buy at every dip view because the way you see the long term chart is very, very intact. It has got into a little bit of consolidation after making a high from 192 to making the lows at around 160 levels. Now it's getting back in the trend. So now I would say that yes, the support levels are elevated right to 165 levels. One should buy the stock because for a longer term perspective, I would be looking at a target of retesting the previous high of 190 and perhaps even higher.
Okay. Vaishali, let me take one more stock with you. Again from the large cap basket. How are you looking at Reliance Industries? And what would you say there? Shell was telling me, there is so much, lackluster at this higher pace. We don't know what to track. So Reliance Industries is there for you.
Well, to be honest, I'm jinxed with my recommendation on Reliance because every time I see a bounce coming in, I recommend it again goes down. But today, I will not use any personal risk, but purely a theoretical risk. 2330 is the support. It has opened strong today with a gap up, so it implies some inherent strength. And I would be first looking at a target of 2420, 2450.
Okay, let's just keep Reliance out of the technical charts zone. And she's right, no matter what you do, you just have to pick up delivery in Reliance and forget about it for 5 years. Perhaps that's the only way to make decent money. And while we've always been focusing on 52-week highs, record highs, great momentum, price and volume, so on and so forth, let me just turn the table to you, Vaishali, and look at a stock which is at a 52-week low. This is what we don't do often, but it is right there in front of you. Alkyl amines and chemicals. Sakshi, an all-time high of 4,723, and today we have 2126 in front of you, which is the lowest that you've seen since April of 2021. So 24 months plus another 6 months. So it's a 30-month low on alkyl amines chemicals. Vaishali, more downside left?
I would not think so. I'll tell you why. Because if you see, the stock has been continuously making lower lows, but at the same time, it is made a low of around 2120. So let's keep 2050 as the support. If you see the RSI, it's trying to come out of the oversold. So, in my understanding, all these stocks, whether you're talking about alkyl amines or if you're talking about Balaji Amine or Tattva Chintan, they are all in the chemical category. And I think it's a matter of time. This would be the ideal level. Even if the weekly chart, if I'm seeing, it is nearly making a double bottom. I'm talking about alkylamine right at these levels. So it definitely, I think one should, as an aggressive trader, start accumulating from here on because everything is cyclical. We've seen this in the IT stocks, we've seen in metal sector, we've seen practically everything. I mean, so if one were to look at it for a long-term perspective, I would definitely consider this stock.
Okay. And one interesting observation I'd like to make on alkyl amines, the PCR will plot the largest possible time frame for alkyl amines for you, maybe 10 years as far as charts are concerned. And I'd like to point out something very interesting. Yes, a wonderful chart. And at the peak of 4622, what happened was the company announced a stock split in the ratio of 2.5:1, which basically meant that the value of the stock came down, and retail investors thought that this rally will now continue till heaven comes home. This is the fear, and the point I'm trying to make is that when you see a very sharp run up on the stock, Sakshi, the stock moved from a low of 391 rupees in November of 2019 to a high of 4,624 by July 2021. So in a span of 2 years, it was a 10x return, more than actually a 10x return, about a 12x return. And after that, a stock split was announced. So this is right in front of you. And once the stock split was announced, a lot of retailers got into it at successively lower levels while smart hands started selling.
To book. Yeah.
And this is the situation now that we are at 2128. Vaishali feels that maybe the worst is over, but markets are unpredictable and we don't know. Sakshi, Vaishali, you're trying to say something.
I said, would you second me on that?
I'm so sorry I couldn't catch it.
Would you second me on my view?
Would you second her on her view?
Well, I'm not so good at technical charts as you are. But one thing I can say for sure, that a lot of money and sensible money is moving into specialty chemical space after a terrible 18 to 24 months when it comes to a very, very sharp erosion in the top line and an equally bad hit on profit as well as profitability. So this sector is now under owned. Valuations are in the sink as far as prices are concerned. I do not know what will happen to alkylamines tomorrow or day after or 1 month from now, but what I am certain is that a lot of pain, perhaps 90 to 95%, is already priced into such stocks, whether they are SRF, Navin Fluorine, Deepak Nitrite, the likes of small caps, alkylamines and so on and so forth. That's how the sector is positioned. A lot of froth has been
Sorry,
moved out.
interrupting.
Vaishali, you were saying something?
Yes, so I would go further this because most of the chemical stocks are in same pattern, similar pattern. So we started with SRF, we started with Aarti Industries, and they are getting into a trend. So mid cap, like today also, if you see IOL Chemicals, they are showing some interest. There is some volume coming in. There is some momentum. So I mean, I would, if not now, then when? I would definitely consider these stocks.
Wonderful.
Fair
so
enough.
these are the stocks that you can look at as far as long term charts are concerned. Alkylamine, SRF, and one more stock which was IOL Chemicals. Sakshi, over to you.
Right.
3:27, 3 more minutes to go.
All right, quickly let me eke out some of the stocks and take your view, Vaishali, before we hit the closing bell. From the railways pack, Tata Rail Systems, how would you look at this stock? Crossed 1,000 for the first time today, hit record high levels again. And what is the next target for you in this stock?
So, well, continue holding because next target would come to around 1030, 1050.
Okay, we were discussing a lot of pharma names, so let me bring out Lupin for you. Here, the company has just now, I think, got some US FDA ANDA approval for a diabetes drug, and that's led to some uptick in the stock again, 2.15% higher, days high. How would you look at Lupin now at 1224?
So, well, the way the chart has been, information and RSI still shows a lot of upside potential yet to come in. So let's wait for it to cross 1238, 1240 levels, and let's then look for higher targets of 1270 and so on.
And Sakshi, I'd like to take this opportunity to also mark Titan. The stocks hit a record high, and just as the PCR had wowed us with a long-term chart of alkylamines, I'll request them to fire an equally long-term chart of Titan. There's something that I'd like to mention as far as this particular stock is concerned. Of course, a record high. This is a 1-year chart in front of you. I'd like to mention the valuation for the market capitalization of Titan. Again, this is a 5-year chart in front of you. This will get bigger and better just as I get you more data. The market capitalization of Titan crossed 3 lakh crore today, Sakshi. And this makes it a very interesting bet. This is the second most valuable company in the Tata stable after TCS. And if you look at the 20-year return on Titan, which is a CAGR of 38.5% a year, a 19-year CAGR of 38.5%. Vaishali, don't you wish 20 years ago 100 shares of Titan would have made all of us so much more happier today?
Oh, yes, definitely. It's just like the story of MRF.
Yeah. I have a tragic story to tell of MRF, and which I will share with Sakshi. But once we meet in person, we'll share that with you as well. But the markets draw to a close, ladies and gentlemen, 21st of November. And Sakshi will tell you what the Nifty's shut shop at, perhaps a shade below the day's high.
Yes, just at 19,782, 88 points higher in trade. And among sectors, now we have the small caps FMCG, IT and PSU banks, 4 sectors that have slipped into the red just towards the closing of the day. But metals shine bright, 1.2% higher in trade. Nifty consumer durables up by almost 1%. Realty stocks, healthcare, financial services and autos, the other sectors that have been on an uptrend. As far as the Nifty gainers go, Shell pointed out life insurance names, SBI Life, HDFC Life, both as the top movers. Adani Enterprises follows, and we did see the metal pack, Hindalco, JSW Steel, Tata Steel, all shining through. Divis Labs, Sun Pharma, Dr. Reddy, some of the other movers, and Reliance Industries, Tata Motors and Titan, the other heavyweights that have been moving in trade as well. F&O movers, Oberoi Realty remains the top gainer, almost of about 4% higher in trade. Ashok Leyland, 3.7% up. Max Financial Services, 3.6% higher. And we also have Aurobindo Pharma that Vaishali pointed out as one of her top picks from the pharma pack, 3.4% higher in trade. From the Nifty 500 basket, it's BEML, 7.15% higher. Credit Access Grameen, 6.1% higher. Chemplast Sanmar, we have 4.5% higher. Ashok Leyland, 4% higher. Concord Biotech, Engineers India, Aurobindo Pharma, all upwards of 3.5%, and Finolex and Adani Wilmar, some of the other movers right here. So that's as far as the market closing is concerned. For all of you, do stay tuned on to Business Today TV to catch all the updates from the world of business and stock markets. Many thanks to you, Vaishali and Shell, for being with us on this edition.
Thank you and pleasure.